Hello and a very warm welcome. Thanks for tuning into News 9 Live. The Israeli military and the Palestinian militants continued to exchange fire in the early hours of Wednesday in the Gaza Strip and nearby Israeli communities. The Israeli military said its aircraft struck military posts, training sites, weapons storage facilities, and an underground tunnel belonging to the Hamas. Israel's Iron Dome defense system was seen intercepting rockets coming from Gaza earlier as well. Now, late on Tuesday, the Israeli military said it had started airstrikes on Gaza's targets in response to earlier rocket salvos from the coastal strip run by the militant Hamas group. There was no immediate word on casualties or damage. Palestinian residents reported several explosions following Israeli raids in the northwestern Gaza city and other parts of the strip. Now, Hamas had earlier evacuated military and security targets in anticipation of these Israeli strikes. Palestinian militants in Gaza had fired a barrage of rockets following the death of a high-profile Palestinian prisoner in Israeli custody after a nearly 3-month-long hunger strike. The tension follows the death of a high-profile Palestinian prisoner that died on Tuesday after a hunger strike that lasted nearly 3 months. It was the death of Khader Adnan that set off a barrage of rockets from the Gaza Strip and raised fears of further escalation. Meanwhile, protests erupted in the West Bank in the aftermath of the death of the high-profile Palestinian prisoner. Around 200 people gathered outside Adnan's home in the occupied West Bank town of Araba, holding signs bearing his image, calling for revenge. Adnan's widow, Randa Musa, told those gathered outside that we do not want even a single drop of bloodshed in response to his death. We do not want rockets to be fired or a following strike on Gaza, is what she told the crowd right outside her house. Palestinian prisoners are seen as national heroes, and any perceived threat to them while in Israeli detention can touch off tensions or violence. Israel sees Adnan and other Palestinian prisoners as security threats accused of involvement in deadly attacks or plots. Khader Adnan, a leader in the militant Islamic Jihad group, had begun staging protracted hunger strikes more than a decade ago, introducing a new form of protest against Israel's mass detentions of Palestinians without charges or any trials. On Tuesday, the 45-year-old became the first long-term hunger striker to die in Israeli custody. Palestinians called for a general strike in the West Bank area and the Gaza Strip, and protests were expected. Even as tensions escalate, there are details coming out of Israel that the two sides have agreed for an immediate ceasefire. Meanwhile, Adnan's death comes as Israel is led by its most right-wing government ever.